Hey, good morning. Saturday. I'm out on the patio. It's absolutely gorgeous in North Texas. I don't know where you are, but it's beautiful here. Got my coffee cup, got my journal, got my Bible, and got my Washington Post and my Dallas Morning News. So I'm ready to go. Already been for a walk today. And I want to invite you to think with me in preparation for tomorrow morning about the story from the Gospel of Luke in chapter 24, where these two folks who had been followers of Jesus, it appears that they had personal relationship with him, though we don't know that for sure. They knew what he looked like, presumably, and they're on their way home from Jerusalem after the Passover, and they're talking, and Jesus shows up alongside them and starts walking with them, listening to their story, and then engages them in conversation. And the text says that they were prevented from recognizing him. They were prevented from seeing him and hearing his voice and recognizing that it was Jesus. They saw him, yes, and they heard him, yes, but they didn't recognize his face or his voice. And that's so interesting. And it has me wondering where in our lives, in my life, I'm failing to see and hear Jesus when he's right there in my face, right there in my midst, right there in conversation with me even. And I just completely miss him. I don't know about you, but I think that there are probably a lot of times. In the Gospel of Matthew, in chapter 25, Jesus says, when I was hungry, you fed me. When I was naked, you clothed me. When I was sick and in prison, you visited me. And when I was those things and you didn't feed and clothe and visit and quench thirst, then you did it to me or you didn't do it to me. Because when you encounter those in need, you encounter me, Jesus said. It's not me saying that. That's Jesus in the Gospel of Matthew saying that. So every time we step up and serve somebody in need, we're serving Jesus. Every time we turn our back or put a stiff arm out to somebody in need, we're doing that to Jesus. That's hard. That's really, really hard. And that's true whether it's somebody in our household or our neighborhood, somebody we love and care for, or our enemy. Jesus also said in Matthew's Gospel, you have heard it said before, and have probably taught others that you should love your neighbor as yourself. And I'm telling you that the new gospel, the true way of the kingdom, is that you're to seek to love your enemy also. It's not just enough to love those who love us and who are like us. We ought to pursue loving those who want to do us harm. Again, super, super hard. And they all went looking for Jesus in the tombs. They went to the cemetery because that's where they thought Jesus was. He wasn't there. And then he kept showing up in these strange places. He showed up twice in the upper room to the apostles. He shows up in the Gospel of John on the beach, fixing breakfast as they're coming in from fishing. And here in this story from Luke, he shows up on the road on the way to Emmaus. So Jesus isn't where we expect him to be, and he shows up where we don't expect him to be. And sometimes when he shows up there, we don't even recognize him. So in this season when we are not in our buildings as people of faith, we're not there for worship, we're not there for Bible study, we're not there for fellowship dinners or crafts or whatever else we might do. We may not be there this summer for Vacation Bible School or some meal plan or program for folks in need in our community. We may not be able to do those things in the way we're used to doing them. So the places where we're used to looking for Jesus, we can't go. But we're in all kinds of other places. We're worshiping on our couches and at our kitchen tables and maybe even sitting up in bed on Sunday morning or watching the live stream later as a recording. So many opportunities to encounter Jesus, so many ways to go and love and serve, and we have to be creative. And I think the invitation, one of my colleagues, one of the church thought leaders about church transformation, a guy named Carey Nieuwhof, has been writing recently about the lessons that we have an opportunity to learn, and really encouraging and calling us to not miss the opportunity and to not just go back, to not rush to go back to the old ways, but to learn from this season and imagine and create new ways and new opportunities to be church together in the world. To go from, as Reggie McNeil and Eddie Hammett describe, to go from being church-focused or church as club to being kingdom-focused or church as kingdom of God in the world. And those are very different, and this season, among other things, is giving us an opportunity to reimagine what that means. And so I invite you to join us tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. on Facebook at centralchristian.dallas, or there's also a Zoom link. You can find that information on our church website, centralchristiandallas.org. There will be lots of other pastors and lots of other churches looking at the same text, so I encourage you to go and hear some of them as well. When you go visit a church on Facebook or online, be sure to comment, be sure to let them know that you're there, ask a question, offer up a prayer request or a praise report or a joy. Engage with them and engage with each other. And then share later during the week, share something that you gained, something that you learned, some insight or word of hope or encouragement or challenge that you received from that message and from that time together. And look forward to continuing to journey during this season. And also, I'm looking forward to the time when we are together again at the table. For it is there at the table when Jesus broke the bread that the two disciples in Emmaus recognized him. They saw the Lord finally for who he was. So we look forward to that time as well. God bless you, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care.